Take a good look around. Welcome to the startup graveyard, a cold, quiet place where big dreams come to die. Brutal statistics show that a staggering 90% of new businesses will end up buried right here within their first 3 years. And contrary to popular belief, they don't usually die because of a lack of funding, terrible accounting, or bad luck. They actually die because of a fatal, invisible disease, falling madly, deeply, and blindly in love with their own products. Meet the typical business owner. He creates a product and truly believes it's the greatest invention since sliced bread. He naturally assumes the entire world will want it, so he aggressively pushes it out into the market, expecting to become a billionaire overnight. But there's one tiny fatal problem. He never bothered to ask the most important person in the room, the actual customer. The customer looks at this so-called masterpiece and feels absolutely nothing. It solves zero problems for their daily life. So they simply walk away. The owner is left scratching his head, watching his revenue chart nosedive straight into the red. This tragic comedy happens every single day. Companies focus entirely on selling what they already have in their warehouse, instead of providing what the market actually needs. They try to forcefully hammer a square peg into a round hole. In a desperate panic to get sales, they start burning massive piles of cash on advertising, hoping to force people to buy. But let's be real. Spending more money to promote a product nobody wants is like pouring premium gas into a completely broken car. If you want to survive and actually attract loyal customers quickly without going totally bankrupt, you need a radical shift in mindset. You have to stop ruthlessly hunting for wallets and start patiently farming for relationships. Let's see exactly how that works. Let's look closer at this terrible disease. It usually starts in a dark garage or a messy basement. The founder locks themselves away, completely isolated from the outside world, obsessing over every tiny detail. They spend months or even years adding useless features and random buttons, creating what they think is a masterpiece. Because they built it with their own sweat and tears, they naturally develop a deep emotional bond. Psychologists call this the IKEA effect. This is a cognitive bias where you ridiculously overvalue something simply because you put a lot of effort into making it. Finally, launch day arrives. The founder expects a literal red carpet, a marching band, and a parade in his honor. They proudly pull back the curtain, absolutely ready for the massive crowd to furiously shower them with cash. But instead, absolute silence. A tumbleweed rolls by. Nobody cares, not even a little bit. The brutal truth is that the market doesn't care about your sweat, your tears, or your late nights. They only care about themselves. But when nobody buys, the infected founder goes into deep, deep denial. Instead of fixing the product or asking what the customer actually wants, they blame the customers. They just don't understand my genius. So what do? They keep violently pushing the same unwanted square rock up the exact same steep hill. They spend even more money to tweak the logo, change the packaging color, and run flashier ads, hoping it will magically work. But here is the harsh reality check. Painting a piece of garbage gold doesn't change the fact that it is still garbage. If you want to build a business that actually survives, you must fall out of love with your product and fall in love with your customer. To understand how to actually farm for loyal customers, we need to hack directly into their psychology. When an ordinary person walks into a store or scrolls through a website, they are almost never looking to buy a product. Take the absolute classic marketing example, the power drill. Why does someone buy a drill? But the customer doesn't actually want a drill. They just want a neat hole in the wall so they can hang a beautiful family photo. They are buying a feeling, a result, a solution to a very specific problem. The golden rule is, sell the hole, not the drill. In the business world, we call this a pain point. It is a problem that causes your audience figurative or literal pain. The arrogant business owner ignores the pain and tries to forcefully sell this hurting person a shiny, expensive luxury watch. But the smart founder? They don't try to be fancy. They simply walk over and offer the customer a simple Band-Aid. Who do you think easily gets the money? The one with the shiny features or the one who actually eliminated the pain? This is the absolute core of a customer-centric business. Your primary job is to aggressively identify what is hurting your target audience. You don't sit in a basement and guess. You go out into the market, you listen, you observe their complaints, and you ask questions. Legendary copywriter Gary Halbert always said, "The #1 advantage a restaurant can have is not the best food, but a starving crowd." If they are hungry enough, they don't care about your fancy logo or your premium beef. They will buy exactly what you offer, instantly. But here is the million-dollar question. How do you easily attract this starving crowd without burning all your cash on expensive ads? The traditional and incredibly expensive way is to simply shout as loud as you possibly can at everyone. You buy ads on social media, you buy billboards and television slots, aggressively hoping someone, anyone, will listen. We in the industry call this interruption marketing, and the reason is simple. You are literally interrupting their day. They are just trying to relax and watch funny cat videos on their phone, and suddenly you jump in screaming, "Buy my stuff." It's annoying to them, it looks desperate, and worst of all for you, it is becoming incredibly, unsustainably expensive. Every single year, the giant tech companies raise the cost of advertising. You are endlessly feeding a hungry machine. You frantically pour in thousands of dollars, and you might get a tiny, insignificant fraction of that back in immediate sales. This terrible cycle creates what marketers call the leaky bucket trap. It is the fastest way to go completely bankrupt. You constantly buy expensive traffic, which is the water, and anxiously pour it into your business hoping to keep it full. But because you haven't built any solid trust or provided any upfront value, the customers immediately leak right out the bottom. Eventually, you run out of cash, the water completely stops, and the business completely dries up and dies. RIP. Think of marketing exactly like dating. You would never ever walk up to a total stranger on the street and immediately ask them to marry you. That is creepy, it's desperate, and it guarantees a harsh rejection. But that is exactly what you do when you run an ad asking a cold prospect to buy your most expensive product immediately. Instead of proposing on day one, you need to offer them a small, free, irresistible gift first. Let's talk about the lead magnet. A lead magnet is exactly what it sounds like. It is a magnetic offer that pulls people in effortlessly instead of pushing them away. It is a small, highly valuable piece of content, a useful tool, or a sample that you give away completely for free. In exchange, the customer simply gives you their attention, their trust, and usually their contact information. Why does this work so effectively? Because it completely removes the risk. There is absolutely zero friction for the customer. Going back to our dating analogy, instead of aggressively proposing marriage, you are simply asking them out for a quick cup of coffee. It's low pressure, it's friendly, and it allows them to safely get to know your brand without any huge, scary financial commitment. This sequence triggers a deeply hardwired psychological principle known as the law of reciprocity. When you give someone something truly valuable for free, they naturally feel a subconscious, powerful desire to give back to you. Now, after you have solved a small problem for them and built that solid foundation of trust, you finally make your main offer. And because they already know and trust you, the sales resistance is completely gone. They gladly open their wallets. You are strategically trading a tiny upfront cost for a massive, highly profitable and long-term customer relationship. Of course, the arrogant business owner sees this working for competitors, decides to lazily copy it, but fails miserably. They offer a free consultation that is actually just a high-pressure sales pitch, or they give away a totally useless, boring PDF. The customer immediately smells the trap and walks away disgusted. Remember, your free gift absolutely cannot be garbage. Your lead magnet must be so incredibly good that people would actually pay for it. So, how exactly do you create one? The secret to a perfect lead magnet is that it must solve one highly specific problem for one specific person. The arrogant boss offers a generic "subscribe to my company" newsletter, but nobody wants more boring emails. The customer looks at this generic, selfish offer and quite literally falls asleep. There is zero value here. Listen, nobody wakes up at 3 a.m. sweating, wishing they had another corporate newsletter filling up their inbox. They wake up because they are experiencing a specific, acute pain. Let's look at a realistic example. The Smart Founder doesn't offer a generic guide to better living. They offer a 3-minute DIY mosquito trap. The customer grabs it instantly. It is the exact immediate medicine for their exact immediate pain. Psychologically, humans are biologically wired to avoid pain much more aggressively than they are to seek pleasure. People will run 10 times faster to escape a burning fire than they will to calmly grab a free slice of cake. When your marketing clearly articulates their specific pain better than they can, something magical happens. But the customer doesn't care about your company. They only care about themselves and finding their own relief. By perfectly solving this one tiny micro problem, you earn the right to solve their macro problem, but how do we turn them into raving fans? So you have
Hello
given
and
them the
welcome.
perfect lead
Are
magnet
you
and
ready
solved
to
their
dive
micro
into
problem.
today's
They
challenge
trust you.
and see
What
where
happens
this
next?
piece fits?
Now, to turn
We
this
call
initial
this the
trust into a
value
raving
ladder.
fan who buys
It's how we
everything you
guide
sell,
customers
we use
from
a
a
concept
freebie
called the
all the
value
way up to
ladder.
your
You start at the very bottom step with your free gift. It is an incredibly easy, effortless step for them to take. Once they see your free stuff is great, they naturally take the next step to buy your low-cost introductory product. As you continue to provide extreme value, they happily climb higher and higher, enthusiastically buying your most expensive premium offers. The arrogant boss, however, ignores the ladder entirely. They prefer to stand at the top of a massive, impossible vertical cliff. They aggressively demand the cold customer to jump all the way from the absolute bottom straight to their most expensive product. The customer tries, violently smashes into the wall, and leaves forever. You cannot skip the steps of a human relationship. So, how do you guarantee they actually want to keep climbing your ladder? The secret is just one simple word: over-deliver. If they pay you $1 single, you must give them $10 worth of massive, undeniable value in return. When they open your product, it shouldn't just meet their expectations. It should completely and totally blow their minds. This creates the legendary wow factor. They realize that giving you their money was the best decision they've ever made. At this exact point, they transition from being just a simple customer to becoming a fiercely loyal, raving fan of your brand. And what do raving fans do? They literally drag their friends, family, and colleagues to your business, doing your marketing for you. This is the absolute holy grail of business: word of mouth. But how much money does this actually save you? Let's do the math. Let's look at the cold, hard math of business survival. Put away your emotions and grab a calculator. Studies consistently show it costs 5 to 25 times more to acquire a brand new customer than to retain an existing one. Because of this, the arrogant boss is permanently stuck on what we call the acquisition hamster wheel of doom. He spends $100 on ads just to immediately sell a $100 product. He makes absolutely zero profit. He has to wake up every single day and run faster just to survive, completely trapped and dependent on the expensive ad platforms. Meanwhile, the smart founder is entirely relaxed, simply watering their existing money tree. They focus on providing so much value that the exact same customer buys from them again and again and again. Let's do the math.
Look at this.
The smart
Our
founder
total
spends
ad
just
spend was
$5
only
to get a lead using their
$5.
free lead magnet. Then
And
that
look at this.
exact same customer
added
buys the
$50 for the low
$50
ticket
introductory
and another
offer and later the
$500 for the
$500 premium
brings
core
us to this
offer.
gl-
The
While
smart
the boss
founder
is
just
stuck
made
at zero, the smart founder
$545
shows
in
us
pure
how it's
profit
done
from the
with a
exact same
clear
initial ad spend.
540
And remember those raving fans? They just brought 3 new friends to buy the core offer. Cost to acquire them? $0. The smart founder isn't just barely surviving month to month. They are building an absolute unstoppable empire with massive margins. This leads us to the ultimate golden rule of marketing. He who can spend the most to acquire a customer wins. Because the smart founder makes so much profit on the back end, they can afford to completely outbid everyone else on advertising. The arrogant boss simply gets overwhelmed and crushed out of the market. Still don't believe me? Let's look at a real-world case study. Let's make this crystal clear with a real-world case study. Imagine
Now
2
let's compare
competing
the
local
operational
fitness
costs
gyms.
of
Both Gym A, run by the arrogant boss, and Gym B, run by the smart founder, have a marketing budget of exactly $1,000. The boss takes his $1,000 and buys a massive billboard loudly screaming, "Join my gym for $50. It's interruption marketing. He gets just 10 signups, making $500. He just lost half his money. Worse, because he offered no extra value, most of them quit next month. He goes completely broke. Now the smart founder takes his $1,000 and promotes a free 7-day fat loss guide on social media. He doesn't ask for money yet, just an email address.
1,000 leads
1,000
already.
people happily
This
download the
email
free
campaign is a
valuable
huge
guide.
success.
He now has a list of 1,000 targeted, interested leads. He sends them free, helpful tips for a whole week. Then he offers a low-risk $20 beginner challenge. 100 people trust him enough to buy it. Stop right there. The smart founder just made $2,000. He has already doubled his initial ad spend. He severely over-delivers on this cheap challenge. The customers get amazing results and absolutely love the experience. When he finally asks them to join the $50 monthly core membership, 50 of them easily say yes. And 10 of those raving fans gladly pay $500 for his high-ticket premium personal training package. Look at the final score. Jim A lost $500. Jim B made $8,500 and built a community. It is a complete massacre.
Today.
So how can you immediately start applying this exact framework to your own business today? If you want to stop struggling and start dominating your market, here is your definitive 4-step survival framework. Step 1. Identify the bleeding neck. Find the exact acute pain point your target audience is currently suffering from. Step 2. Create a lead magnet. Offer a free, highly valuable, and immediate solution to that specific pain. Step 3. Nurture the relationship. Provide consistent free value to build rock-solid trust without asking for money. Step 4. Build your value ladder. Guide them step by step from low-ticket offers up to your premium services. But above all the marketing tactics, you must make a fundamental, permanent shift in your mindset today. You have to completely drop your ego. Stop being blindly in love with your own products and your own ideas. Instead, fall deeply in love with your customers. Obsess over solving their problems and making their lives better. Market doesn't reward the best products. It rewards the businesses that care the most about the people they serve. Be the smart founder. Stop aggressively hunting for wallets and start patiently farming for relationships. This video changed how you look at business. Do me a massive favor and hit that subscribe button right now. Smash the like button so hard that the YouTube algorithm literally catches on fire. It really helps the channel grow. Leave a comment below telling me what your specific business is and what lead magnet you plan to create for your audience. Share this video with a struggling entrepreneur who desperately needs to hear this truth. Thanks for watching. Thanks for building. Keep providing insane value to your market, and I will see you in the next video.